Welcome everybody one more time to Studio 24/8 Radio 24. This is yours truly, Harvey. You know, I am the MC, I am the engineer, I'm everything that has to happen to make this thing happen. I'm the director and the producer. And today we're going to be doing some more of my community work, talking with Mr. Reginald Black about what we got going on with the Making the Irish program, what's going on currently, with this election going down, just social commentary basically. Because what we're trying to do is we're trying to build a platform to where we can come on here from time to time and get our message out. Yeah, once again, this is Brother Harvey representing for Studio Radio 24/8, all the way live. Here comes Brother Reggie on the one. How you doing, Mr. Black?
How you doing, man? Good to
I'm
be
all right.
on, Harvey.
Yes, sir.
Good to
Yes,
be
sir.
on, man.
Glad to be back. You know what? You're my number one guest, man. I feel,
I
yeah.
guess, I guess so. I don't know. I guess
Well,
I'm a fan favorite.
Well, now it's to the point because all this stuff is just going into the video banks right now. You know, we ain't even up with it yet. It's just you're so busy. You're a highly sought out man when it comes to what we're doing. So I mean, what's going on? Talk to me.
Yeah, man. It's Thursday now, and I've been having a tough week, man, and you got all of this crazy stuff going on with old orangutan, and I did just get some kind of depressing news earlier today before our outreach run. So for those that don't know, I am the advocacy director for an organization called People for Fairness Coalition. And since late April, early May, we have been going to specifically help our population, which are the unhoused. Traditionally, we focus in on ending housing instability through advocacy, outreach, and peer mentoring. So we've been focusing on our outreach since, like I was saying, early April, late April, early May, to help the unhoused have sanitary supplies throughout the week. And so we've been going out to different areas in the city. We've actually focused in on Ward 6, and just recently we've added Ward 2. So we're actually doing 3 encampments in Ward 6 and 1 in Ward 2, and we're actually covering 2 of the largest encampments in the city, which is in Noma, or north of Massachusetts Avenue, and the State Department, which we affectionately call 21st and E. And so, in those encampments, we're serving anywhere from 40 to 100 people, the largest one being Noma, because we encompass an entire neighborhood. So that's about 100 or so, as we call them, units of supplies. And those supplies include toilet paper to help them use the porta potty, hand sanitizer, masks if we have them, whatever snacks and healthy food we can find. We try to give them socks, and we also give them the flushable sanitary wipes, so that they can, bathe or wipe themselves down or whatnot. And we've had a great partnership out of the Ward 6 Mutual Aid Network, and also our awesome partner, Serve Your City, who is actually run by a guy named Maurice Cook. And he's, partner activist with us in many other spaces, but he's been directly partnering with us to address extreme housing instability or homelessness in his ward. He's actually from Ward 6. And so we've been supporting them for weeks, and it is one of those things that you see when you're talking about homelessness or the unhoused. You see the people in tents, and you see the people that are in the doorways or whatnot, in sleeping bags and that type of thing. So we know that's a visible thing, and we try to address it as best we can right now with the health emergency. And like I said, we've been focusing in on what we would consider PPE for somebody who's living outside. Yeah. And, it's just, well, last year, to start off, we lost 117 total persons unhoused. And in our city, 86.4% of those people are Black, African Americans. So every year we have a large number of Black folks who die because their health has been complicated by housing instability. They're suffering homelessness, which is not by nature a very sanitary environment to be in. You can't always take a shower every day unless you're going to the shelter. And those that stay outside, they complain about sanitary issues inside the shelter. So you have an environment which is more susceptible to COVID-19, just, by the nature of it. You don't have facilities to do these things. You don't have sinks to wash your hands. You don't have bathrooms to use. You don't have showers to bathe yourself. So these people are vulnerable. And one of our clients, I just found out, has recently passed. I don't know from what circumstances that has happened, but to know that someone we've been serving for the last 10 to 15 weeks, we just couldn't get him housed fast enough. And I think that, when we're talking about certain plans we have in the city, like the vacant to virus reduction plan, it is one of those things that is essential that needs to be implemented right now, because I just lost a life to unknown circumstances. But this man was a veteran, and he was in a wheelchair, and he was a senior citizen. So not only should he have not been living in a park, but he should have been eligible for our emergency services in terms of the pandemic. But somehow he fell through the cracks to the point where they find him dead. Like, it's not fair. And it's just adding to my weird week, in terms of the election and all the things going on. So, I just feel weird, and that's not helpful. Like, to know I've lost someone. I have to put his name on a placard this year for the longest day of the year. And if my man, Mr. Harvey, is game, I'd love to have I forget the 20, he can correct me, the 24/8 radio as part of our National Homeless Persons Memorial Day, or the longest night of the year. And so, I hate doing it because I'm one of the few people that actually put on a funeral for unhoused people. Nobody goes to claim their bodies. Nobody gives them a casket. Nobody pays for the embalming. Nobody gives them a headstone. The only thing that we have to memorize them is a few pictures of some of us holding their names or ages on a placard. And a lot of those unhoused folks, they pass away, and their family members don't even know for weeks, months, and years on end what actually happened to them. So this is why we need to, get this vacant to virus plan implemented, because lives like that, are the ones we lose. People who have served this country, people who, are seniors for the most part. Our homeless population is aging in the District of Columbia. We got an average age of about 50 or so. And we're talking about people that's, like anywhere from 40 to about, let's say, 60 years of age at least. And then they have a biological ages of 60, 62. You know what I mean? I know of a person who is in a shelter and he's in his 80s. So his biological age is like someone that's over 100. And these are the health conditions we have let our most vulnerable residents be in. And then 10,000 vacant units that possibly could save some of these lives. Like, this is crazy. Like, why are we allowing 10,000 vacant units in the District of Columbia to be unused? And we could say that it was pre-COVID, but the data actually comes from December 2019. So it's kind of pre-COVID, but not pre-COVID. We could have prepared for our wave of COVID-19 better, especially with the homeless, by securing those 10,000 units. But we have the plan to do that now, and we need it done. We need that plan implemented. We have the highest per capita rate of homelessness in the country, 94 to every 10,000 people. We spend the most in the country on housing, which has given us that access level of vacancies. DC has a $14 billion budget, and 3% of that $14 billion is spent on housing, which is more than every other jurisdiction in the nation, every city, every state. That is a travesty. And then we're not being intentional about how do we use that exorbitant expenditure. Like, it's one of those things that, I don't think people know. And I think people need to know. They really need to know that, a rental agency or developer or property manager is not taxed because a unit is filled. It's taxed from those who are in these buildings on paying rent, and only their rent. So if there's a vacant unit, they still can write off their tax evaluations from the city as if you would write off a deduction for your children. And they would get the same equivalent of a money match in a tax return from the IRS. So they're making money off of your tax dollars. It's simple as that. And how they're making the money is that as an owner, you can specify where and how your money is spent. So you can, as a business owner, you can have a personal investment, which is you taking your own money and investing it in your business, or you can have a payment to yourself. And so I estimate that there are significant payments to owners and management and those things like that coming from the tax returns. That's how they make your money, because they're getting those 7, 8, 9 to 1 IRS corporate tax money matches. That's the same thing as you putting 2 dependents on your taxes. You get at least a 3, 4, or 5 to 1 money match on your tax return, when you file. These are things I think people don't know and don't understand. And I think that information is hidden, because if you're not going into business for yourself, then you wouldn't even understand that accounting scheme at all. You wouldn't even hear about it in school. And this is how they are getting over on us. We should be very intentional about how our assets are used. And if you aren't living in any of these areas, because our 10,000 vacancies are consolidated into 3,000 buildings. So we're talking about buildings in this city that have an average of 3 vacancies. So the apartment next to you might be vacant and you don't even know. You got to really drill down on, are all the units in my building filled, and not let these landlords and developers and property managers lie about that. Knock on the door, check to see if anybody answered. You know, you can ride around places like Southwest 14th Street, you know, where you have these large luxury boxes. Ain't no lights on, ain't no drapes in the window. So who's living in all of these apartments? There isn't anyone there, and we have all these people who are living in our shelters and living outside. That's why we need the vacant virus reduction plan implemented. We need it implemented yesterday and the day before yesterday. We need it implemented last week, last month, last year.
Where, where is it? Can you hear
Yeah,
me now?
I can hear you.
Okay. Well, some things you say that just kind of irk me at this point, and I'm gonna share
Yeah.
them with you. Okay. Every time you point to the fact that we spend more than any other principality or locality in the country, it just comes off wrong. When you say that statement, that's something that then the common person, without analyzing what you say, would take that as being a positive for our locale. So
Well,
it's about wording that. And I'm telling you from the way I was hearing it in my ear. You understand what I'm saying?
yeah.
So even
And
to
that's
that
why
point,
I always And that's why I always emphasize this first, that DC
but
has the
that's
highest rate of homelessness per capita in the
right,
nation. We
right.
94 and out of 10,000 people are homeless in the city, even though we spend that much. That is a problem. And
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah, yeah. But see, we had to go back and we had to raise that to the point of making it plain. Now to say that and then a person to be comprehending exactly what you're saying, then it's plain. But when you just say, we spend more than any other locality in the country on homelessness, but we are running at deficit. People are not making that connection. Well, I'm not
yeah,
personally. Every time I hear it, it's like, uh, you know. And I'm not going
right.
off because I want to be. I understand what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? I also think that before we just talk about how necessary the vacant the virus plan is, the thing about it is the language has not been built out. Because the same way I'm saying that we have to make things plain to just say why would a person you just said people can ride around and look for apartments that are vacant? What benefit would somebody that's trying to find work or going about their daily routine? How does that benefit them? You see what I'm saying? So all of those innuendos and all of those connections that they have to make, they're not going to be able to make unless we make it plain. You
Mhm.
understand? Why would somebody go around looking for vacant apartments and be like, hey, we got 4 or 5 vacant apartments, even though it's a pandemic and it should be a natural type of thing, people are not at that point yet. To see how the tax abatements and all these tax breaks they get to build these apartments, and then when it's a pandemic comes, they're still not filling the affordable apartments, nor the high end apartments because ain't nobody moving. But yet still we trying to solve a pandemic. They're not making that correlation. So we have to make that language just that plain to people to see that there's
Mhm.
a pandemic going on. But why don't we just make sure everybody has housing starting out right now during this pandemic? We
Mhm.
spend so
Yep.
much money from our budget, and it's still a small proportion compared to the policing budget. Compared
Hmm.
to the policing budget, it's a
That
drop in
is
the bucket, right? So since everybody is at home, then there should be less policing because a lot of people aren't out anymore. So therefore, you understand, all of these things have to be broken down and made plain. And then people can start
exactly.
finding lessons for
Exactly. Out of $14 billion, we spend almost a million, almost $2 million on MPD. And this is why all of us were saying they don't need that much money. Why do they need that much money to push around people who are being displaced by the way we have allowed our city to promote policies and to build stuff in our city? You know what I mean?
But I'm saying the point of it is, and this is what happens. Okay, my partner back in Georgia, one of my partners I grew up with, right? He 9 to 5. Ain't no different than that going. You understand what I'm saying? And you're
Mm-hmm.
politically woke. You're actually signing off on things. You're getting into conversations. You're helping policy be created. You understand what I'm saying? And it's two contrasts because this is what I can't get across. I'm trying to, and I feel like you understand, but you're still more so want to work into the language. He just don't see that it's script, it's political theater because it pisses me off at police, and I got so much footage on my phone when it takes 4 or 5 police officers to suppress an arrest if it's only 1 or 2 people you're detaining. When you pull over one person, it's 4 or 5 police officers. That's over policing right there. That's pork. That's overspending. It should not take $200,000 to detain somebody that ain't got a $30,000 job.
And see, that goes back to some of our training, that military power, that weapons power. They want that crap on display so they can try to control our communities. And this is why when we push back, it's such a problem because we understand that, look, that's nothing but weapons power. That's nothing but you basically, that's you in an organized way brandishing a gun and trying to rob me. You know what I'm saying? So, those are the connections that we have to make, that they have things in our community, right? That even though we voted and even though we have signed on to certain things, those things aren't what we signed on for.
No, Reggie, that's what I really want us to wake up and realize. See, I'm on a mission, and my mission to make people understand that slavery was never a period in time; it's a process, even to the mind. You understand me?
Oh yeah.
And so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who is in office if they're constantly building up and displacing people, then patrolling those people with said flooded police and talking about them making an impact. They can't be making an impact if they're talking about crime is skyrocketing. You see what I'm saying? Like, and we're so caught up in the process of listening to both sides that we're not saying, hold on, let's stop. Let's step back. Let's start determining what happened. Because we're the community.
Exactly.
We're the community.
It's always this side and that side and never our side. You know what I'm saying? Like who really puts out there our side? That's one of the things that makes V2VR dynamic, because that is coming from our side. Nobody else's side. Not that side, not this side. Our side. This is how we see things are supposed to be used and done in our city. And guess what? We've identified the things you said in this document, that document that you wanted to do, but you refused to do. So we have done it, and this is our side. So now you're going to do it because, you don't have these positions and these jobs and all of that without us.
Hey, check this out. You know what I'm kind of warm about? You know that 7-Eleven right off Rhode Island and 7th? Now, how they gonna close that road out, that 7-Eleven down?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you can see it. You know what I'm saying?
That right there is the precursor to something, right?
Yeah.
So you had a 7-Eleven up there. So you had a 7-Eleven up there leasing, right? Now the 7-Eleven is leasing from some property manager. The property manager is paying taxes on the income they make from 7-Eleven. Now that same landlord or entity owning that property will then turn around, take the money they made, right? Purposely get turned down for a loan, 3-4 banks, then come to our city government and be like, well, I want to build something and I need money. And they will give it to them. Again, something that we never signed on to.
Well, I'm saying to the point that the 7-Eleven is a convenience store for the people like us that can pop in, pop out. You have a few people begging in front of it and everything. But everything else on that corner has been gentrified. That was like the
Exactly.
last stronghold for the regular person just getting by right there. That was it.
And that's why I
Everything else
say,
on both sides of the street is changed.
that's why I said it closing is a precursor to something, because somebody's going to come in, snatch that lot, and tear that building down. And then you get another building. Let me see, what was the one? It's a building right there on 7th and I think it's like T or something. And because that is in that same area, they're going to get the same height as that building down there. So they about to tear that down and go up in the sky on it. And is there going to be an amenity, something that could have served the purpose that 7-Eleven did at that location? Is there actually going to be some for the people there? No.
That was the
No.
last
But they
struggle.
about to
That
go
was
up
the
in the
last
sky
thing.
with it. But
You
they
got the
about to
coffee
go
shop
up in the
up
sky with it.
Yeah, you got
Yeah.
a beer garden right there. You got all of that. And so we see this going on. But at the same time, it's a pandemic. And we still have 6,000 plus people a night sleeping on the street. Come on, man. Somebody help me understand. And
Right.
what is this new office? What is this new ticket? This new ticket hadn't talked about one thing for the community. Regardless of what their intentions are, when we ask, what are you going to do for people like us? Nothing. I haven't heard anything.
And that's part of it. And that's part of it, And it's unfortunate that, guys like you and myself have to come out here and, basically inform people that that they, have to that we have to inform people. Why isn't it just out there? You know what I'm saying? Like there are things in this city that people should be able. They shouldn't have to, go and find. It should be out there. Hold on. Yeah, that's my food. I gotta run and get my food in a minute. But why? Why isn't that information public? And that's the problem. They want to keep us on the need to know, and
what
that's
I
not fair.
realized? These are my two analogies for 2020, man. I hope they resonate through this computer to the world. I hope they resonate to you, my brother. I realize this is two states of thought that we as people have to realize. We have to realize that if you believe in Darwin, then you believe in evolution. And the forms of slavery, if everything else evolved, if we went from the horse and carriage brothers to where we are now, why would anything else evolve? To that point, it went from being a slave master owner to state type of equation. Now it's a nation type equation. But see, I see the empire what we're living in. I don't see this. You see what I'm saying? I see all the other places that are suppressed that don't even have a voice. They don't even have
Right.
representation. So I mean, to be in the midst of where we are fighting. But I see the biggest scale, and it also it's like popcorn, man. I think about when I was little, and you throw the popcorn in the microwave now you see it, but usually you have to put the oil in the pan and you put the kernels in there, and when they get hot enough, they start popping one at a time. And that's what they do to us. They keep us moving. They keep us moving, keep participating, keep doing this, doing that, while they changing everything around us, man. And I'm just tired of it, man. I like, come on, man. Anybody with an idea. That's why I like taking the virus. Okay, if ain't nothing else going, let's go with it. Take it to virus. Let's do this. This is something the community is bringing forward. So we just got to get on the same accord with some of our allies. That's what I was saying in the meeting today. We got to really find out who down here in the trenches with us. You know what I'm saying? And then once we identify that, then let's go. I'm with it. Look, man, we've been recording for about 30 minutes now, man. Look, we're not gonna go long the point, man. We came together to talk about making it viral, man. On going out in closing, Reggie, anything. Tell me something about the district in the near future that we're gonna be doing, or impact or anything. Give us some good words,
Oh
sir.
yeah. Oh yeah. So right now we actually have some support from several groups. One of them is called the Unhoused Collective, and it is convened in partnership with People for Fairness Coalition, Ward 6 Mutual Aid, Global United Diaspora, the Boston Legal Clinic from the Homeless, ourselves, People for Fairness Coalition, and the National Conference of Black Lawyers, DC chapter. And we actually have a petition that we're circulating that actually has vacant virus in it and support the implementation of that plan. We also have action steps where those that want to ally with us and the unhoused can, contact their leaders in power right now and make sure that they bring this up, because this is a community plan and we're going to implement it. It ain't going to be, we want you to do it. We're telling you we're going to implement it. So we are showing that we have numbers right now and collecting those numbers and building more support across the community. Be on the lookout for some infomercials across the media, because you have to know these things, and we're going to make sure that you know.
With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, he inspired me to say this, and this is how it's gonna go. This is like a call and response type thing. The spirit is just moving. But listen, if we're the number one nation in the world, and we're trying to make America great again, why can't we go back to when it was no homelessness in America? Why can't we go back to when everybody had a family? Why can't we go back to family orientation? Don't that sound kind of conservative to you? Don't play with us. Our minds are mental and we strong. We out. All right, Red, let on.